Hear my voice? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being on this call again. We appreciate the fact that you can take out time to be on the call. My name is Turiola Olajumoke. I work with Azure Limited, and I have on this call today, I have Adekunle Dean, who will be taking us on another interesting topic today, identity and access management. His main focus will be on privilege identity management. A couple of announcements. First of all, I need to let you know that this session is recorded just for the main reason that we can make the video available, the recording available for those that may not be able to participate at this moment. And then also, one other thing is that I want to please ask every one of us to please mute our mic so that um, we don't distract the speaker. Some other things I also like to say is that we'll have the evaluation form pasted along, the chat window. Kindly help to fill it. A lot of us have noticed we've not filled evaluation form, please. And I used to have, sometimes I get very low output from it. Please, we'll want to know how well to do. I think that is the least we can ask any of you. Please help us fill the evaluation form. Also, this topic today, this session today, will complete the three-part series of the enterprise mobility plus security suite. So I'm glad to have all of you here, and I'm sure we'll have an interesting time together with Adekunle. Adekunle Dean, a little bit of introduction about him. And I know the last time he spoke with every one of us, he did mention he was not an MCT. Adekunle is an MCT. Um, Apart from being an MCT, he's also one of the young cloud security engineer that I've come across that is very, very passionate about letting us know what's the risk we stand, the risk that any organization that is posed to any organization, and how we can mitigate against those risks. So I think this topic is like his baby, and then I'm glad that every one of us are here to listen to him. If you have any question, please put on the chat window as much as possible. We know the session will be very interactive, but if you have a question we can attend to, we attend to it on the chat window. And if for any reason you need to get a broader view or knowledge, visit the YouTube channels. There are other recordings that are present there that you can leverage upon. Also, you can also join our group. You can also join the group on the WhatsApp or the Kaizala group so that you can have the opportunity for you to be able to ask questions maybe around deployments, and then if you have environment also that you're experiencing the same issue there, we can always assist and then give advice. It's a community of the Microsoft certified trainer. Like I said, this is just the local community, and this is just one of the user group in that community, which is the Microsoft 365 user group. So what the basics of the society is, just community is just for us to foster knowledge among um, among all IT professionals. So visit the group and then join yourself. It's just your phone number that is needed for you to join, either on WhatsApp on or the Kazela group. So without wasting much of our time, I'll just leave the floor to Adewale, Adekunle Dean, to take us on this journey. Thank you all as you listen.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. I really appreciate it. Um, good evening, everyone. I'm Dean Adekunle, a cloud security engineer. So I'm going to share my screen so you can see better. I hope you can all see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay.
No, okay, there we can.
I'm Dean Adekunle, a cloud security engineer and productivity engineer. Obviously, I work with Hashem, and today I'm going to be discussing Azure Active Directory Privilege Identity Management. It's also known as PIM, that's PIM, and I'll be using the acronym PIM throughout this course, just in case. So what is PIM? Basically, in simple form, or I would like to say in the layman's language, PIM just gives you control to monitor and secure your environment, your privileged identity. So I'm going to make my slide view. Okay, so this is going to be our agenda for today. First off, I'll be defining what PIM is as the Azure Active Directory Privileged Identity Management. I'll be showing you and telling you a few details about the tools that PIM empowers you with. And I'll be showing you the overview of PIM, then we'll dive into demo. Then I'll show you the business value of PIM. So for the management team, we have the CTO, CIOs, MDs, so they would like to know what the business value for team is. Then I would like to introduce us to one of team's sibling, like I would like to call it. That's PAM, that's Privilege Access Management. I'll just do a quick introduction to what that is, because basically both technology do the same thing, but in different environments. Then I would introduce us to their cousin, which is the Office 365 Privilege Access. So all of these do something similar, but I'll be focusing mainly on PIM, that's your Privilege Identity Management. Then we'll also go to another demo, then I'll show us what the licensing looks like. I hope this is going to be very informative. So this is just a summary of everything I'll be doing. Then let's go to number one. The first one, that's the defining what PIM is. So this is a simple definition of what PIM is. It is a service that enables you to manage, control, and monitor access to your important resources. So because obviously your IT admins are going to need privileged access to access these resources, you want to have a way to monitor what they do online or with this access, and you want to be able to control the access. You want to be able to manage it and say, this is what you want them to do. This is the amount of time you want them to do what they want to do. As we go on to these slides, you'll see what I'm saying specifically. So basically, PIM typically manages two kind of roles. It manages your Azure Active Directory roles and your Azure Resource role. So what I mean by the Azure Active Directory role, that's the AD roles, is your Exchange administrator, your security admin, your global admins. So these are the roles you use to manage your environments, your Azure AD roles. Like you have on-premise, you have your administrative roles. So that's what your Azure Active Directory roles is. And also you have to manage your resource roles. That's when if you have moved to the cloud fully and you now use Azure resources. So PIM also helps you manage all of these roles, maybe your application administrator, your VM administrator, those kinds of roles. PIM helps you manage it, and even it helps you manage those who can have access to your subscription, and it helps you monitor who have access to those subscriptions and what they have done. So these two roles, this is what PIM typically manages for you. And this is like the bulk of what Microsoft offers, your Active Directory or your Azure resources. So these two, you have a predefined dashboard that helps you manage all of this. What does PIM empowers you with? So these are the things that PIM gives you as an IT or a sysadmin or an IT manager. So first off, it gives you just-in-time privilege access. So you are able to give your users, or I would say your colleagues or your team members, okay, I think that's the perfect word, your team members, to give them just-in-time privilege access to what they want to do, either on your Azure Active Directory or your Azure resources. So you are able to say that anytime they need an access is when they get it. They don't just have it, and not because most of the time they are not going to be creating VMs. Most of the time, they are not going to be doing something that needs privileged access on Exchange or your security. So you don't want to just give them those access, because it can be compromised by someone else, and it will be able to do and undo in your environment. So you want to keep them and give it to them only when they require it. That's what the just-in-time needs. Then also it enables you to give time-bound access. So even after giving them just-in-time access, that means they have to request before they get it. They also have to state the time they need it. So now you are saying that, okay, what do you want to do? and how much time do you need to do what you want to do. So if it's just 1 hour, they have this 1 hour privilege to do what they do. After 1 hour, it expires and you get your access back. So automatically, you don't have to even trigger anything. That's the beauty of PIM. And also, you can choose to require approval. So this time, you know who needs an approval. So when they want to request, they can request your approval while you approve the access before they get it. So this means that everything that's going on in your environment comes with your consent. It doesn't go behind your back. So you know about it. You can choose to ignore, you can choose to approve. So it depends on your choice. And next, you have MFA. MFA has been the foundation of security for Microsoft. So now you also have MFA to verify that my team member is the one that requires this access. So they need to perform a second level factor authentication before they can get access to the privileged account, to the privileged role, so they can use it. Then also there's a justification. So they need to justify why they need this role, why you should activate it. So for instance, maybe it's a password reset administrator. He wants to request for a password reset role. So he's going to tell you, for instance, that he needs to reset some user's password and he needs you to approve it before you're able to approve it. So things like this is what you get from just sitting on your desk. Also, you can get notifications. So you get alerts, you get notification when things happen in your environment. You are able to monitor, you're able to get this rich visibility to see who is doing, or who has just triggered, or how many roles or how many privileged roles do I have in my environment. You're able to see all of this. Also, you can conduct reviews, access reviews, whereby you verify if all the privileged roles in your, if the team members you have assigned all this privileged role in your environment still require it. So if they don't require, you can just easily retract the privileged role they have, because they can have permanent roles and they can have eligible roles. I'll go deep into that later. So you can review all of these roles. You can review for a week. If they don't use any of this role for a week, why do they still need it? So you can just take it back. That's what access review gives you. And also, obviously, you can download the audit log history just in case for audit section. You'll be able to present it to know if you are compliant in your environment. Because I don't know if any of us have noticed that when you are assigning roles to users, when you get to 5 and you're trying to do the 6th one, you get this alert that says that you already have too many global admins in your tenant. So this is the beauty of PIM. So you're even able to know that you should stop, or they don't even need all these roles. It's too much. You typically just need 2 global admins in your environment. So all of this you can manage with PIM. So this overview, I'm just going to run down on on the work process of PIM. So first time in the PIM portal, you set up your users for eligible roles. So eligible roles means that the role this user is eligible to request for. So now the user is not able to request for roles that they are not even eligible for, because obviously in your team you would have different roles for your team members. So now you might have someone working with Exchange regularly. You want to make him eligible for Exchange roles, or you have someone that is exec personnel and you want him to be eligible for roles that are similar to his work, to what he's going to his work day-to-day job function. So these are the things you are able to do. Then next, after you enable this role, this user to be eligible for a certain role, then next, the eligible user when he needs the role, he's just going to go to the PIM portal. He's going to go and activate the role. By activating, he's going to be required to either verify with MFA or either request an approval from you. So also the third part here that says, sorry. So for the third part here, depending on the PIM settings you have, so we are also going to see what the settings look like. The setting, I can say that my maximum time is just 1 hour, or I can say 8 hours or 24 hours. It depends on the kind of settings. So depend on the kind of settings you have, the user that is trying to activate a role is going to input anything required here or give a reason for getting the approval or use MFA. So depending on your setting, you're going to see that real time when I do a demo. Then once the user has activated the role, then the user is obviously going to be able to use the role for the time stated. For instance, he wants to use it for just 1 hour. He's going to be able to use it for 1 hour. After 1 hour, the role is going to expire. Then it's not going to have access to anything he has been accessing before. Then finally, you'll be able to see history of your activities, your PIM activities. You'll be able to get audit log. You'll be able to review your users and all. So basically, this is just the overview of PIM. This is the work process. It's as simple as this. So I have explained the work process. So I want to show it to us in a diagram. So you have a picture, a pictographic view of what I'm saying. So this is the user. He needs to activate a role. So it's either using MFA or getting an approval from you. If it's an approval, you're going to get an alert in your email for you to verify and either you want to accept or not. So this is the role the user wants, which or any of the admin role, maybe billing admin, global admin, or any of our Azure RBAC roles. So any of this role the user, if you accept or approve the user's request, then users get the role. Time-based. That's why you have the clock here, time-based. Then you'll be able to get alerts, you'll be able to get reviews, and you'll be able to report. So this is how PIM works, the simplicity of PIM. So you don't need to always go about checking for a user that has done this or what's going on in your environment or who has this role or not. Also, I'll show you can even discover on PIM to see how many roles you have and how many users have those roles. You can discover the roles you have in your infrastructure or your environment. And also you can see a lot of how many roles, and you can just, with a click, you can remove the role, or with a click, you can just stop the user from having the required access they have. So let's dive into the video, to the demo real quick. But before we do that, do we have any question? This is very simple. The simplicity is out of this world. Microsoft has blessed us with something nice. So is there any question before we go to the demo?
Can you please repeat that question?
Okay. Let me go back to this slide. This one. Hello? Hello, you mean this slide?
Yeah. About the sharing of roles. Yeah, go on with this.
Okay. Let me run through this again then. So I'm saying that a user, your team member, for instance,
Yeah.
needs a role because he wants to check the billing information, for instance, or he wants to perform any privileged task in your environment. So he requests. There are two forms of requests. Either he uses MFA, the second level factor authentication, or he requests for your approval as the IT manager. Based on what you say, if you approve the request, then it's going to get any of the role he has requested for here. Time-based, because why he's requesting is also going to tell you how long he needs it for, and it's also going to justify the reason why he needs it. That's why you have time-based here. Then once you approve it, then it's going to have access to any of this role he has requested. And once you have access, you'll be able to get alerts, you'll be able to get reviews, and you'll be able to get reports based on anything he has done. Environment. Okay. I hope that explains. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me go back to the demo. Okay, so I'm splitting my screen into two just to make it faster and for simplicity. So this tab or this browser on my left hand side that has jar that's triple joined on Microsoft, this is the IT manager. Then sorry, not this one. So, okay. So this other tab on my right-hand side that has a white background, that has the name Han, is your team member, for instance. Okay. So as the IT manager, all you need to do is first activate all of this role. So typically, this is what your team dashboard looks like. So all you need to do is go to your Azure portal, then you just type team, PIM, and it pops out for you. So now you can see you have this manage tab has Azure AD roles or Azure resource roles. So we already know the difference. The Azure AD roles is your Active Directory roles, while the Azure resource roles is your infrastructure roles. That's your IaaS roles. That's your Azure back roles or your VMs, anything relating to your resource on Azure if you are fully moved to the cloud. So this is the IT manager. You can also see your roles. You can see your requests. You can see approved. Sorry. You can see approved requests. You can see you can view review access. If you want to review access for your users, you can review accesses here. You can choose which of the assets you want to review, maybe your Azure resources or your Azure Active Directory role. So this is the review I did recently for myself. I reviewed all the global admin in my tenants. So, but then typically what happens is they get an alert for them to, if they really need it. So they get an email that someone has triggered an access review and you should accept, or you should state. Sometimes you can add justification if you still need the role or you don't need it anymore. So I get the report, then I can approve or deny, or I can even set this to perform some automatic actions that if the user doesn't reply or doesn't respond, you should withdraw the role the user has. So also, let's just go to the Azure AD roles first. Oh, sorry, for quick start, you can see I can do the same I'm going to show you. I can manage access, that's this manage. I can activate just in time, which I'm going to do. I can discover and monitor roles in my tenants. But let's go to Azure Active Directory. So this is what Azure Active Directory gives you. Under the manage, I can click on roles to see the roles I have here. So all the Azure Active Directory roles you would see here. You can see billing admin, you can see application admin, you can see the device administrator. And also I want you to look at my right hand side, active and eligible. So you can also see how many personnel are assigned to each of these roles. So you can see any of them that has active roles or eligible roles. So this active role is like permanent roles. So if I scroll down, I'm just going to show us, okay, this my Exchange Service Administrator, there's one eligible role. For my Global Administrator, there's one eligible role and there's 8 active roles. So you can also have a view here. And also it defines what each of these roles does for you. So in case you're unsure of what each of these role does, you can just read any of these to be certain before you assign any of the roles. So from here, I can just click. Let's choose a role. Let me use security admin. So I'm just going to search, and this is the security administrator. I already have someone here, and this is the same person I want to use. So I'm going to go back, and I'll say security. Okay, so I'm going to add Han here. So what you need to do is your scope. You need to select your scope, but by default is your default directory. Here is also blank because I've already chosen the role as a security operator. Then I can add member here. So I'll click on it. Then I'll select the member I want to add. So once it pops out, I'll say Han. Then I'll select Han. Then I'll select it. So I've added Han. So this is what pops up. What kind of assignment type do I want to give him? Do I want to make it active or do I want to make him eligible? I'm going to say eligible. Do I want to make him permanently eligible? That is, he's always going to be eligible. But why would I want to do that, for instance? I can uncheck this and I can say, I want him to be eligible within just this period. I can choose a closer date if I want to. So after this date, is not going to be eligible anymore. That means he cannot even request for this role anymore. So I'm going to leave it as default and I'm going to save it. So once that's done, I'm going to add. So you're going to see here that I've added hand. So as you can see, created the role and it succeeded. So like I said earlier, with just a click away, you can come back here and you can just remove, or you can update if you want to. So you can remove him from having this privilege, or you can update this here. So it's as simple as that. Then let's go back. Also, you can do that from here, members. I want to search a member. I want to see, for instance, I want to see Gray in my tenant. So I'm going to search for Gray. So let's click on Gray and let's see what happens. So this is Gray. Gray doesn't have any eligible role, but Gray has active role of global admin. An expired role, does she have anyone? No, she doesn't. So this is the simplicity. So I can even go and hunt for people that have privileged role in my organization and just withdraw the role with just a click. So, and you can see the end type here is permanent. The assignment type is direct because probably I added her from the portal itself. That means I go to her and added her role from Office 365. So it's permanent, not from PIM. Also, I can get alert. So if I click on alert, let's see what this gives us. So this is what all the alerts I have here in my environment. You can see, let's start with this. Roles don't require MFA. So the amount of roles that I have that don't require MFA here is 1. Administrator aren't using their privileged role, 6 administrators. So why do I want to keep them? I can just click on it, see the administrator, then I withdraw all of my roles back because they are not using it. So the way it gets that is it checks the last time they try to use any of those roles. If they are not using it, it keeps counting, and you just notice that they are not using this role anymore. Then why should they keep them? Let's go back. So go back to alert. So you can just withdraw your role back again. So potential stale accounts in privileged roles are 2. So I can also click this to see more info if I want to. Then I can also see there are too many global admin in my environment. There are 8 already. And I clicked it. This is what I get. I get all of these guys, they are global admins. So typically in your environment, you might be getting more and you might notice some of your team members or maybe someone in management, your management staff have any of this role and they don't require it because they don't use it, they don't need it. So you can just click on it and take it back. So if we go back, like I said, also access review, I can create access reviews for any of these roles. Like I said, I created an access review way back 15th. So I'm supposed to get more of this because I have 8 at global admin. So the access review I created was for global administrator. I want to review the global administrators in my environment. I want to be sure if they still need all of this role. So I can see not only one of them was reviewed, and that was me. The rest of them was not reviewed because they did not probably check their email accounts and they did not activate or say anything. So if you want to create an access review, this is what it looks like. All you need to do is click on new. You give your review a name. You state when you want it to start and the frequency it needs to check for how they use this role if they still need it. And you want to give a end date also. Then you want to select the role you want to review. For instance, I want to review the security admins in my organization. I'll just select it, then put it in. Then the reviewers. So typically this is going to be maybe yourself as the IT manager, or if you have more than one person you want to add. So you'll be the one to review these roles. Then you can also select reviewers. here too. But also there's upon completion of review, what do you want to happen? Do you want to apply result automatically? If users don't respond to this review, what do you want to do? Do you want to remove the assets they already have? Do you want to approve it manually yourself before you want to take recommendations from Microsoft? So you can choose any of them. Or you can also have the advanced setting. Typically, you just enable all of this because it's worth it. You want to show recommendation, you want to require them to give reasons upon approval, you want to get email notifications or reminder. So all of these are part of what you get. So, but there's a fun part here I'd like to show us also, the setting. You remember we've created a role and we've assigned the role to Han, but this is where I would advise you to start from. Because of the sake of this webinar, I have to start from the top so I can walk us through down. But this is where you want to start from. Before I continue, is there any question? Are there any questions? Okay. If there are no questions, then I'll just continue. So as you can see last updated by this person, George, Anida, and the dates. So you have all of this in modified, yes. So for instance, I want to modify one of these. So this is where I said this is where you would start from, because this is where you configure those privileged roles. So this is what it has by default. So I'm going to click on edit because I want to make it eligible for users. Yeah, I can give it maximum duration. Like I said earlier, the maximum is 24 hours, but I can reduce it, I can make the most. So even anybody that wants to request for this, that I made eligible and needs to request, they cannot request more than what I've set here, for instance. So, and I can choose an option here to say that, do I want to require MFA, or I want to make it none, or I want to also, or I want to say I have to give, the user have to give a justification, and it has to require an approval before it can be activated. So for the approval, it's going to send an email from me to me, or you want it to require a ticket information on activation. So all of these settings you're able to do. So I'll do one for, let's go to settings. I think I did security admin. So for instance, I don't want to require MFA, but I want it to require an approval from me before it's activated. So I've selected this. I've selected the approval, the person I want to approve, which is me. Then I'll just update it. Or let me just reduce this. Initially it was 9, I'm going to reduce this to 6, and I'll update it. So it has updated, yeah. So that's bulk of all of PIM, but also you can have audits, resource audits, you can have your audit. So this is what the audit gives you. You can see add eligible member to role in PIM completed. This is the subject, this is the user added, and this is the role I gave the user. So you can see all of it. So if you need an audit report of who has done what, you can get it from here. You can also have my audit here also. This is personally for me, what I have done. So you can get this too for compliance issue reasons. So that's from the admin side. So this is a team member. This is Han, is one of your IT guys. Is probably a sysadmin or security admin. So it needs to request the role. So it's just going to click on my roles. So you can see that he has 2 roles. Initially, he has security admin and he has security operator. You also need to maximize this. So this is what he has. So all he needs to do here is just to click activate. But also you can see the active role if he has any. So is by default is the X administrator, but he needs to perform some tasks that require one of these roles. Does he have any expired roles? You can check here. So let's say, for instance, I want to activate security administrator. I'm just going to click activate. So it's going to load up. Then this is the information, that's my information as one of your team member. This is the scope, that's the default directory. Then this is the time I need it for. So I'm saying I need it for the maximum is 6 hours, but this is also dates. When do I need it? I can choose any of this, but I need it for how many hours, so I can reduce it. You remember I slide this bar, then default then was 9, so I made it 6. That's why you have 6 here. So I can say I need it for just 2 hours, and I need to give a reason because it is required. So I need to justify why I need this. So I'm going to just say productivity. So you can also see there's an asterisk, red asterisk, so because it's a required field that I've set. So I'm going to click on activate. Then I need you to see what happens. It's going to tell you it requires an approval. So slide down. Then let's see active roles. It's not active yet because it requires an approval. So I'm going to go to the IT manager. I'm going to go to my Outlook. Or I can come here also, approve request. I can do it from here also. It's going to show me all pending requests that I need to approve as the manager. You can see this hand. You can see this. All I need to do is just click on it. Then it's going to pop up here. You can see on my top right. I also need a justification why I am approving it. So I'm just going to say okay. Then I'm just going to approve. So let's approve and let's see what happens. And you can see the time already that I need it. Then I'm just going to approve it. Also, I want to show us the mail, what it's going to look like. Okay. So you get an email also. This is the mail. This is what you get as the IT manager. Oh, okay. The approval mail is not in yet. But this is what you get because I set it to always alert me. So what I've done, I added hand to security operator. So I'm getting an email that something has happened. Hand has been assigned security admin operator role. So I'm getting all of this alert. So I've approved it. So I'm just going to go back. I'm going to go to hand. Then just refresh and see. You can see the hand is activated already. He has the security administrator role. So also you can see that if it's done and it's not an hour yet, you can just deactivate it. I don't need it anymore. I can deactivate it. If it's expired, you'd see it as part of expired roles. Or if it's active, you see it as active role. So this is the time that's active for, because I already set that in my request. So typically that's what hand gets, and if he needs to work with it, it's going to be eligible enough to work with the privilege that this role gives. So that's why it's activating it. So now by default, Anne is not a security admin. You just need to activate it before it becomes a security admin. That's the beauty of PIM. So do we have any question?
Yeah, sorry. Hi, I have a question.
Okay.
So this is more like in terms of process and governance. Who's supposed to manage the PM, the privilege identity management? Who's supposed to be the admin on that console?
Okay, so typically it might be your IT manager, or you want to have maybe set 2 or 3 people to be in charge of the role. But you know, you need to be assigned. There's a role called privilege identity administrator role. So you need to be assigned that role before you are able to take administrative tasks on this PIM portal, or you need to be the global admin. So by default, the first person to activate this role, because initially, if you have your tenant set up, you need to turn on privilege identity management. So the first person to turn this on is automatically made the privilege identity administrator. So he's able to do this, but you can add other people to this role too.
So
ideally, so a global admin cannot log on to the PM and do role assignment.
The global admin can also, he can.
I'm just trying to understand, how does it control, if you can assign someone a global admin and the person can come back and manage the PM? How do you make sure there's checks and balance in that process?
Okay, you know that I can, I showed us that I can show, you can see all the roles, yeah? When you assign someone global admin, you can assign them eligible global admin, not permanent global admin. Does that make sense? So he's a global admin, obviously, but he's just going to be eligible, and he's going to need an approval before he can do anything. And also, you also have a report view, so you can even see if he has done anything he shouldn't do, and you can take back your role. So you still have control. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. So I think someone wants to say something. Okay.
Okay, so sorry, the question I have, Dean. Okay. My question is, so let's assume I'm working and I've just been given just-in-time access. And probably maybe in the course of me working, I found that the time allocation that was given to me, I may need more time. Is it possible for me, or that period needs to expire, then I ask to request for another one?
Okay. I cannot give you a valid answer right now because I've not checked that out, but you can, so we can just try it out. Yeah, that's the good thing about the webinar. So let's assume this is Han. So let's assume he has activated this role. So this is it. He already exists, so you can see he already exists, so he cannot do anything more. So that means the role has to expire before he's able to do anything. So this is the active role. He cannot do anything here because of the time he chose initially. And even though he opens it and say he wants to activate again, it tells him that the role already exists. That means the time he requested for, he needs to finish it before he's able to continue. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So like I said earlier, the business value of PIM. The business value, because obviously you are going to need to justify why you need PIM, because before you have PIM, you need Azure Active Directory Premium Plan 2, which sometimes businesses wants to know why do we need to pay extra to just get because of some added features. So you need to tell them why. So basically, for risk, you need to secure your organization. So imagine everybody has a permanent privilege role and it's compromised. That means you can do anything in the tenants. You can go here, you can go there. So that's why one of the reasons why you need to monitor, you need to manage, you need to give just-in-time access. So like you can see here, manage risk. Then also compliance and governance, like someone has said earlier. So because of compliance and governance, you have a report view that you can share. So if something even go wrong in your organization and you need to be sure who did what, you can go back to your reports and just pick out what you want to pick out. So you can see who has done what. And also reduce cost. So reduce cost in the sense that when something goes out in your environment, it's going to cost a lot of money for you to fix. You are going to lose your customer trust if maybe someone comes in, steals your customer information, or even destroy your customers' information or your information, your financial information or anything. And all of this can happen. It can be human error. So for instance, I don't know I'm privileged to do something. because maybe I've forgotten all the permanent role I have. Mistakenly, I clicked it and it just worked for me, and that's it. I cannot just revert like that anymore. So that's why you can have human errors. There are security issues already and crime-based. So all of this is going to reduce the overall cost in your organization. It's going to reduce the overall cost. So that's one of 3 of the major business value PIM gives you in your organization. So like I said, PIM has a sibling. His name is PAM, Privilege Access Management. So I want you to see this as an on-premise version of PIM, because Azure Active Directory Privilege Identity Management, Azure, so Azure means cloud, obviously. So let's say you have infrastructure already, you have everything, investments, and you want to even get a little of what PIM gives the cloud users, you can implement PIM. But to implement PIM, to implement PAM, PAM is basically, it's an instance of Microsoft Identity Manager, that's MIM, in your environment. Microsoft Identity Manager is a suite of solutions. It gives you service password reset on premise and some other things on premise. So you can also have PAM on premise. But to implement PAM, which is one of the solution MIM gives you, are going to need all of these components. You're going to need new 2 forests, and you are going to create a trust between both forests. You're going to need an administrative forest for the PAM, then a production forest, which you already have. You're going to need a client that's going to probably be a PowerShell client, so you can talk to the REST API and the PIM portal. Then because it's MIM also, you're going to need a MIM database service. You're going to need a MIM service, a portal, MIM portal, a PAM component service also for you to implement PAM. Because what this does on-premise is like a shadow, it creates a shadow account. It creates a shadow account from your production to your administrative. So if someone in production needs a privileged access, so a shadow account is created here. So here in a security group, those security group by default has access to what the user is requesting for. So all he's going to create is a shadow account here with the same SID and the likes. It's just going to mirror the SID. So he's going to create a shadow account on your administrative forest. Then when the user is also going to give you just in time. It's going to give you MFA. It's going to give you all what PIM gives you, but it's resourceful, like it's resource bound, because you need to do all of this. PAM is just a click away. PIM is just a click away. So you are going to create a shadow account, and then also it is going to create a shadow security group also in the administrative forest. And anything you need to do is the user is going to be able to do it. And when the time has expired, the user is not going to have that privileged access anymore. That's basically the concept of PAM. So any question on PAM? Okay, in the absence of questions, I'm going to just show you a picture of how PAM works. So as you can see here, you have the 2 forests, like I said earlier. You're going to create a trust. This is your production forest, and this is your administrative forest, here the fasting forest. Then you're going to have your HR admin, for instance. Then you're going to have the HR database that the user is trying to access. Then this is your, like I said, it's going to create a shadow account also. So this is like shadow account. This is Jen. Jen is the user that needs a privileged access to access some of the HR database. So like I also said, it's going to create a shadow account of this security group, which is HR admin in the Basting Forest. That's the administrative forest, which is this. Then Jen needs to access something here. It goes through the authentication process, which can be approval or MFA. So once it's MFA, gets it through the MIM portal, which is the main solution where she's going to request it. And there are also sets of policies there that might be created. So the shadow forest is where Jen is going to be added. The shadow group in the administrative forest is where Jen is going to be added to. So once she's added to that forest, she's going to be able to access any file she wants to access or do any privilege activities on the HR database, time bound. Like you can see the clock here, time bound. So also the on-premise gives you the auditing, gives you alerts, you can view events, and you can have reports. So like you can see on the steps here, the 1-7 step, you also have the time base is known as TTL, yeah? So the time to leave, so you can set the time to what you want it to be. So this is just the overview of what PIM does for you in your on-premise environment. But do we have any questions on this? Okay, this is fine. Like I also said, they have a cousin. The cousin is the Office 365 privilege access. So in case, just for instance, your management don't want to approve PIM for you yet, and because of the resources of MIM, you don't have PAM, but you want to use something. You want to just secure your identities, your privilege roles. So you can have a little of privilege access in Microsoft 365. I'll show you what that is, but it doesn't give you as much as what PAM or PIM will give you. It just gives you a little for your RBAC roles when it comes to Exchange. So we are going to see what that looks like now. I'm going to go to JAD, that's my IT admin. This is it. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to say go to the admin portal. So all you need to do here is just go to settings. You go to settings. Then you search for privilege access. So let me just maximize this so you see. So you can see the description, set scope access for privileged tasks and data access in your organization. So you click on it. So first of all, you need to turn this on because by default it's not turned on. So once you turn it on, it's fine. So this is what I created earlier. I can search for it, or I can just say manage access roles. Then I can create a new request or configure policy if I want to. So I'm going to, let's say for instance, I want to request access. But before I request access, let me show us what the one I've created, what it looks like. So it's going to pop up soon. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So it's going to, okay. So I'm going to search again. I'm going to say privileged access. Okay. So you need to set a group. This group is going to have the admins that you want to be able to approve access. To be able to approve access to any of the privilege requests that user made. So I created a group, a security group, or mail enabled group, any of the groups. So I created a group and I added users to the groups. That's why I have privilege access here. Then if we go back now, for instance, I want to create a new request. What do I want to request for? Do I want to request a task, a role, or a role group? So either one you choose, you're going to have the request scope. Like I said earlier, is mainly for Exchange tasks, there are Exchange roles. So just for you to secure at least few things, so you are not left out. So these are the things I want to do. For instance, new mailbox rule, inbox rule, search mailbox, all of this. For instance, this is what I want to do. The duration, how much do I need it for? I can say 2 hours. What is my reason? I just give a reason. Then I say, so once I request for this, sorry, let's create new request. Let me say role, because I've not created a policy for tasks. So it's in progress. What is going to get, or ideally we administrator. So typically, if it was hand, also role don't access, sorry. So you just need to configure policy, add the policy. I've only added one policy here, which is the exchange or data loss policy. So this is what the policy is. So for anybody that wants to request the role, exchange role, data loss protection, maybe he wants to create a new DLP policy or the likes, the approval is manual, and these are the people that needs to approve it. So this is the policy. So you need to create each policy for what you want, or you want it to be auto, you don't want to approve, you just want them to have it, so you can create that. So at least this gives you some form of governance in your exchange environment, so people don't just do and undo. So that's what it looks like. Then do we have any question on the Office 365 privilege access?
Okay, in the absence of any question, I think thank you so much, Dean, for that wonderful session. I think we've come to the end of this session. It's been a wonderful time, and it's been a period of learning and getting to know new technologies. And the beauty of all of this is that we have these technologies that are readily at our tips. It's not things that maybe we have to do so much investment in. Thank you once again, Dean. And please, we still have the evaluation form in the chat window, the links to it. Kindly help us to fill it. And then if you have any other question, because we're already beyond time, you can drop your question in the chat window, or better still, you can join the group to ask your question there if you have any questions on deployment or maybe personal knowledge and all of that, or you need guidance around even certification. We can assist with that. So with that said, I want to call it a day, and then thank you so much, and everyone, I wish you a very good night rest. Thank you, Dean, once again.
Thank you, ma. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And see what you can, what